there is some breaking news. Jackson Holliday, number one prospect in all baseball, number one prospect, obviously, then for the Baltimore Orioles, and everyone's hope to be rookie of the year, has been reassigned to minor league camp. And Zach, you actually, this is very foreshadowing. You started the day off with a specific tweet.
Oh, yeah. No, I actually tweeted out earlier today that it would be a great day. It is beautiful. If you're here in the Baltimore, you know, it is a beautiful day outside. It is just gorgeous. And it was a perfect Friday to announce Jackson Holliday made the team, and Mike Elias and company had other plans. So first, I'm going to get off all the knee-jerk fan reactions inside me. This is stupid. This is malpractice. This is service time manipulation. This is just downright wrong. But at the same time, I do understand that there is a window for the Orioles, and I don't think, as we've talked about and we're going to get into, I don't think Jackson Holliday, no matter how well he did, he was going to have an opportunity to make this team.
Yeah, I think this is something, and I said this even from the beginning, because we had Cedric on here way before the season started, and he talked and raved about Jackson Holliday. And I even said when spring training started that I still thought it was an uphill battle for Jackson, not because he's not talented, but if you saw what he did down the stretch, and if you told me now he's going to make the team, 100%, I said, hell yeah, let's go, let's ride. But I also understood if they say he wasn't, because of the game plan, because of the thought process. And my thought process before, again, this is not my opinion on what I would do. This is just the opinion of what I've understood being around the game. When you have young players and you don't have to push the envelope, you're going to have a little bit more of, I guess some time to let things develop. And in their minds, this wasn't a pressing need to have Jackson go out there, and probably going into spring training, he was going to have to be beyond perfect. And it felt like he was almost perfect down the stretch, Zach. And I guess people look at it, his numbers are very good. Hit over 300. Felt like he was finding a rhythm. But still, that wasn't him hitting 500. And again, that's ridiculous. That's unrealistic. But that's how I felt deep down, that's what was going to happen with Jackson Holliday. And I understand the outrage. A lot of people obviously are upset that Jackson's not on the team. Doesn't change his outlook for the rest of the season. But the excitement, Zach, I think that's what Orioles Twitter right now, if I'm reading all the comments right now coming in. By the way, if you're new to the show, you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button as well. Let us know your thoughts here. We're going to get to it. There's a lot of comments so far. But, Zach, I think that's where it is, just the desire to see a talented player who people thought is one of the best 26 players to start the season in Baltimore on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is, like you said, it's the disappointment factor. It's that everyone was so excited. There was the thought of the orange carpet, next week after everything, the rough ending to last year, was going to be seeing Adley, Gunnar, all the guys back. And then you add Jackson Holliday to it, Corbin Burns on the mound. It just felt like something meant to be. It was like a dream scenario, and it felt so close. And I think that's why it's frustrating is if he hadn't been hitting so well, if he hadn't been playing so well, this would have become less of a shock. If he was batting 213, maybe a home run or two, I think it would be closer. I don't think people would be as upset. But man, we saw the grand slam, you saw the RBIs, you saw the triples, the fielding, and it got people excited. All of a sudden, people are like, this guy is good, this guy is exciting, he's that next piece, that last puzzle piece potentially to put this team over the top. And it was just a week away, less than a week away. I think people had already kind of penciled, hand up, I had penciled, if not penned, in Jackson Holliday on the 26-man roster to start. And I think that's why it's brutal is, people, they were so close. They thought it was right there, and they thought we had it. And then he gets reassigned to AAA.
Yeah, and I think the other context of this, against the desire, but I don't want to diminish the other Orioles. And this is something where people are going, well, who cares? He's got more upside and talent than guys like Ramon Urias and Jorge Mateo, Jorge Mateo is official on the team. Ramon Urias, I believe, is going to be on the team. I always thought those guys were going to be on the team, but people are going, well, Ryan, why? Why are those guys? Well, they're more established. And again, maybe it just goes back to there's a game plan in place, whether people like it or not. I'm not sitting up here and trying to tell you that this is my opinion. Again, I'm just trying to explain a little bit more of why. And for the Orioles and what they've done with guys, the track record, Adley Rutschman didn't start the season. Gunnar Henderson didn't start the season in Baltimore. Jackson Holliday, even younger, and now everyone's saying, well, wait a minute, they're ready to go. They're not going away from their game plan, if that makes sense. And their game plan was, we want to see a little bit more time. We like the guys that we have right now, and we're not going to push it. And Zach, I actually brought this up last night. It was the fact that things are sometimes decided beforehand.
Yeah.
And wasn't there a comment? I'll play the video in a second so I can get it up. But there was a comment that Hyde made back on March 5th about Jackson's stats. Can you explain that for a second?
Yeah, actually, and I can pull it up on my Twitter real quick because I just quote tweeted it. So there we go. So pretty much back on, it was March 5th. I'll pull up the tweet so everyone watching can see it. Let me see this real quick, people. Hold on. Stay with me. All right. Yeah, here we go. So March 5th, Steve Milewski puts out, Brandon Hyde was asked about how stats will factor into whether Jackson Holliday goes north to Baltimore with the team. Hyde said, I think, honestly, it's a small part because the sample size is so small. It's more about the quality of the AB he is taking, how he handles the speed of the game defensively. I'm not going to lie. At the time, I thought that was almost him saying, even if he struggles a little bit, we like what we're seeing and he's going up north, because at the time, Jackson Holliday was struggling a little bit. So it felt like Brandon Hyde and them were kind of giving him a little bit of confidence of, hey, we just want to see you continue to improve and you'll head up north. I think people got a lot of hope from that. Now looking back at it, it was Brandon Hyde giving the precursor of, hey, if this kid takes off and starts dominating, we're not just going to look at his, spring training numbers and go, okay, he hit the best of, in the top 26 on the team. Statistically, he makes the squad. And I think that's what upsets a lot of people is they did think that Hyde and them were going to put him on the team because of previous comments.
Yeah. And so let me play the video literally last night with Ravens long snapper Nick Moore. And I asked Nick this question because people that don't know this, Nick played professional baseball as well. So Nick and I had a little conversation with the rest of the group explaining how in spring training, sometimes certain things are already decided before you get down there. So just to give context, why don't you guys have a listen? With that, and I was telling you guys before, Nick knows this too. This is maybe a secret that we can share here on the Ryan Ripken Show, and then we'll get out of here on this one, is that sometimes, Nick, they just have things already decided, and spring training for certain guys does not matter at all.
It's predetermined regardless of statistics and how they perform during spring training.
Yeah, like there are certain guys that they already saying no matter what, you're on the team.
That's that football too. I mean, you automatically know certain guys are going to be on the 53 man.
Oh, 100%. Especially when it comes to draftees and undrafted. It's the same. You give them the chance to make mistakes during spring training, knowing that they're already on the team. So I don't know if the players know it. You get a vibe. If you're a player, you get a vibe of who those people are. But it allows you to just kind of let them do their thing and kind of take away a little bit of the stress. But Rip's right. I mean, there so many times in baseball and in football.
So there's a little bit of, and I guess the irony, and maybe we timed that up right, Zach. I don't know if I brought that up, but it is true. And Hyde made the comments. They had a certain plan, and that's why I stressed the level of expectation or perfection that Jackson was going to have to play with. It's not because he's not talented. It's just because the certain plan was already kind of in place, in my opinion. And therefore, the Orioles wanted to stick to their plans despite what happens in spring training. And let's just face it, too. And actually, that's what I'm excited to have Jerry Harrison Jr. on, by the way. For those that have been O's fans for a while, not if you're a recent O's fan, well, glad you're an O's fan, but if you've been through the days, you remember Jerry Harrison Jr. coming up in the late 90s, early 2000s window. And Jerry's can touch on a lot of what spring training means. And honestly, if spring training really has the same value for all the players, a lot of insight that he's going to be able to share. And again, if you're new to the channel, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. Obviously, we do this show Monday and Thursday, and we're going to add Sundays, but we also cover breaking coverage. And in this case, this is the Jackson Holliday news of the breaking coverage. He's not making the team. He's also not the only Oriole that was reassigned today. If I'm not mistaken, Zach, Kyle Stowers, Heston Kjerstad, right?
Yeah, and Kobe Mayo.
And again, guys, Kyle Stowers had a great spring. Kobe Mayo's had a great spring. but it doesn't necessarily, that's what we're trying to conceptualize. Like a spring training doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to mean for the opportunity to start with the team. It's a great starting point, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that is what's going to get you to the big leagues. And Birdland Network, Jerry Hurston, I remember him. I remember Jerry too. I was a little kid running around, and it's just so weird now to be in this position. But Jerry covers the Dodgers, but obviously he's so in tune, playing the big leagues for such a long time. He's going to be able to give us so much insights on what's happened so far with the big league season, because it started, and obviously with some of the expected, season talent that the Orioles have. He's got a lot of thoughts. Zach, sorry, you clicked that again. Go ahead. My bad. I clicked the wrong one. There we go.
I think we can almost I would say Cowser made the team, it looks like. I would just based off of who's been sent down, I feel like it would be between him and McKenna now. If anything, I see we have a question here. So if Jackson is down, what do we think about Cowser? I'm kind of getting the sense he made the team. What do you think, Ryan?
It feels like cow moo. I never did the moo yet,
Moo.
but I'd like to hear the moo more in Baltimore. I think he was one of those guys where he's battling at the spot with Heston. And so in my opinion, defensively where it is, if it's between Cowser and McKenna, I feel like Cowser's really proved the point that he's ready to go, but he was already, he did everything in AAA last year. And we talked about it a little bit. Maybe I need to do a Cowser breakdown if I feel like doing it later this show. Maybe we just say, screw it. Colton Cowser, the spring training highlights and a little bit of what happened last year. But it was the same thing we talked about with Kyle Stowers. They came up last year, then they didn't play. Then they got a little bit maybe in their heads, lost their confidence. But I'll tell you what, new offseason coming in, Cowser's hit the ground running. He's hitting pitches with 2 strikes. He's driving the ball a mile.
Yeah.
He looks ready. And again, I think he has a better idea, Zach, that if he's not one of the starting 3 outfielders, how he's going to be better prepared to be having to come off the bench or be more situational. And I think that's something that we're going to have to at least know. And I saw, do we want to talk about, I guess I was looking at it because the Colton Wong situation, because he can opt out. I think he did opt out.
Yeah, he already opted out. So if he doesn't make the team, he'll just be a free agent.
Right. And so for people to understand that decision did not go into Jackson Holliday. So the ones that are saying you're really going to give Colton Wong an opportunity. Colton Wong was brought in as depth to see what was going to happen. If he makes the team, great. Great for him and great for the team, whatever it's going to be. But that's not the case all the time. You got to bring more guys in. And also, who knows Jackson Holliday pretty well, Zach?
Colton Wong. And I'm not going to lie. I was kind of surprised for that reason. I almost thought Colton Wong would be okay with going down to the minors to help Jackson, but that's besides the point. Yeah, Colton Wong opting out of his minor league deal with the Orioles if he doesn't make the team had no impact on Jackson Holliday. They were not going to make that decision off of someone they brought in on a minor league deal a month ago. Something that was kind of brought up earlier here, and I was trying to find it. It really is getting tougher as a big fan of Kyle Stowers just to watch him go through this each year, because it is getting to the point, and as much as I hate to say it, like I just am praying he gets traded, because I want him to go out there and get consistent at bats in the big leagues, because we've seen, you did a breakdown on him, Ryan. Everything's there. When he's clicking, he can drive the ball to all fields. He's got incredible bat to ball skills. And it's truly just frustrating. And I can't even imagine what it's like for him he had the spring training of a lifetime, what you would dream of having if you're competing for a spot. And just like we said that Jackson Holliday was going in, and it looks like maybe there was no chance, no matter how well he played, that he made the team. It almost feels like Kyle Stowers could have batted 1,000 with 15 home runs and 100 RBIs in 20 games, and they'd be like, sorry, we don't have room. And that's just the unfortunate situation of how stacked the Orioles are, especially in the outfield right now.